Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's upgrade training. We're going to be covering AR balancing today. So as we go along, if you have any questions, key them into the questions portion of the GoToMeeting control panel, and I'll get to them as necessary. Otherwise, I'm going to keep everybody muted to limit any background noise so we can get through the material. It's not going to be very long today. It shouldn't take us 20 to 30 minutes or so at the most. Prior to this webinar, you should have received a couple documents, and if you haven't, please let me know, and I'll make sure that they get sent to you. The first one is going to be this spreadsheet tool that we're going to kind of cover in great detail here, how to fill this out, where to get the information that you need, and so forth. The other thing is this help document. That's going to really, again, in detail, cover everything I'm going to talk about today. But it also, you'll see here, part one is the daily balancing, and that's what we're going to do. But also, if you want to do monthly balancing, if you come down here, that part two, that's going to show you how to do that as well. There's a couple extra steps involved there with lease accruals, cylinder rent, and finance charges that'll apply for month-end balancing and not daily balancing. But again, today we're just going to stick with daily AR balancing for version 6 and above. There's also a few new reports that goes along with that handy spreadsheet that we'll look at. So let's jump into Tim's here and get going. So really the reason we recommend doing daily AR balancing is to make sure that all the different posting streams within TIMS are affecting your AR appropriately. 2 posts within a typical daily batch will affect AR, and those are cash posts and order posts. And so we're going to look at both of those in our spreadsheet. Again, for the month end, so if you do bill cylinder rent, have cylinder leases, or if you charge finance or service charges, these items are also going to affect your AR, so that's why there's a couple extra steps there. That Word document, again, will really guide you step by step how to account for those as well. So you really want to do this on a daily basis. It should only take a couple minutes. TIMS are going to handle everything correctly, 99% of the time. But that one-off chance something happens, something wasn't there that was supposed to, or what, for whatever reason, it's really much easier to catch that during that day than try to figure out what happened at your month end, as I'm sure you can attest to. So again, if you haven't received that Excel spreadsheet tool and a help document, let me know, and I'll get those sent out to you. So to balance your AR, there are going to be a few reports that we need to look at and draw information from. So the first thing that we want to look at is our daily batch logs to get the control totals. So I'm going to jump into our batch system here by searching in my search window for batch system. And here under batch logs, I can click on that under log files. I'm just going to grab all logs, and the reason, just a little caveat here, we don't, really run daily batches here in our training servers, so I'm going to be kind of using some dates that go back a little ways. Typically, this would be right at the top of your list. You wouldn't have to dig around for historical logs like I am. So I'm going to go ahead, and before we jump in here, let me show you the spreadsheet again. So the last time we balanced was on 5/19/14. So we want to find the batch log for the following day. Again, you won't be needing to do this because you're going to be running this on a daily basis, whereas my training servers, we don't do that. So I'm going to grab that batch log and open that up. Expand this out a little bit so you can see it. Now, before I dive in here and grab this information, let's take a look at that spreadsheet. I want to kind of cover some things here. Within this Excel spreadsheet, there's a lot of formulas that are running in the background. So your pink or red or whatever color this comes out that you're seeing on your monitor, These are columns that are going to be calculated for you, and you see here calculated field. So you don't want to enter anything into these columns because obviously that'll erase the formulas in the background. So above each of these columns is going to be a heading letting you know where to get this information from. These first three items are from our batch log, which is the report that we just pulled up, and you'll have that in your daily batch logs. We're going to look at an order to AR balance report where we're going to get the total changes to AR. We're also going to look at our cash receipts journal to try to get a look at all of the cash that we've taken. And the ending AR control total here, again, is from our batch log. So let's jump into our batch log and grab that information. So the first thing we want is our beginning AR control total. So right here, I see my very first AR total, and you'll see these AR control totals throughout the batch log. So every time a process runs in the batch, Tim's is going to run an AR value to reconcile against. But the only two that we need is the first one and the last one. So when I highlight that in this particular report, I had the ability to copy by right-clicking or just Control-C. And now let's jump back into our spreadsheet and paste that in there. Right-click and paste. I'll go ahead and put the date in here. And you'll notice right away over here, so we have some information. We're not in balance, and that's obvious because we haven't finished filling out the information. And once I do put in some more information and it still doesn't balance, once I finish putting all the information in, it's going to let me know that amount. So that'll be a handy piece of information if I have to go back and do some research as to why I'm not balancing. This last column here is basically confirming that yesterday's ending control total is the same as today's beginning control total. So rather than having to look and verify that, it's just going to let us know there automatically. So the next thing we want to look at is our order entry post. We want to see all the orders that posted that affected our AR. So we're going to find that in our batch log. So let's jump back into Tim's. You can dig through this report, but you might find it's easiest just to hit Control F, or you could click on your little binoculars there and search for GL batch. So all of our order entry posts that affected AR are the GL batches 1013 through 1016. So let's jump in there and look at that. Here's our cash post. I guess we jumped a little ahead of ourselves here. We're looking at the orders posted. So let's go back and grab that. Same thing up here. We're going to search for orders posted. And down here, we're going to see that the batch 1012 is where our order is posted. So now I know the GL batch number for my order posting, as well as my cash postings, all of the batches included there. So the last thing we need from our batch log over here is our ending AR control total. So let's jump back to our batch log and grab that. So I'm just going to page to the last page of our batch log and scroll down to the bottom. And here I see my last AR control total that was taken. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that. And jump back into our spreadsheet, Control V to paste. And now I can see my out of balance amount is right here. And so I'm going to have to come up with that figure here. So the next place we want to look is our order to AR balance report. And this is a new report. It's really kind of handy. So let's jump back into Tim's and grab that. So now that I'm done with my batch log, I can go ahead and exit out of that. Now to the order to AR balance report, you could save it to your favorites and in your menu here, or I'm just going to go ahead and start typing order to AR balance report and pull it up that way. So we'll go ahead and launch that. And so now we need to enter that GL batch. So let's jump back to our spreadsheet, and we recorded that from our batch log. And our batch was 1012. So that's the one that we want to enter in here. And it's going to confirm the accounting date. And we'll go ahead and generate this. You know, you could also sort by accounting date. If for some reason you weren't balancing, you could go back and search by accounting date. Maybe somebody posted interactively throughout the day, and you could that might help you try to get to the bottom of why you're not balancing. So I'll expand this a little bit so we can take a look at what we're looking at here. Oops, maybe not that much. Okay, so here, my order to AR balance report. It's wrapped in this nice Fusion programming, so I've got the ability to print it, export it, or email it here. In our case, we're just going to go ahead and look for the value that we want. So our total change to AR, I find that right here, $799.22. Unfortunately, we can't copy and paste out of this, so either you're just going to have to remember that number or write it down and jump back into our Excel tool and enter that value. Okay, so that's the last piece of information we needed in our order to AR balance report. The only thing left to find is our cash receipts journal. In our cash receipts journal, we'll see the total credit to customer account from all the cash that we posted. So we're done with this report, so I'll go ahead and get out of that. Now where you find your cash receipts journal is in AR Manager. So I'll go ahead and launch that. I'm going to come down here and generate reports. And these are the 4 reports that I can generate in AR Manager. So I don't need these other 3. All I want is my cash receipts journal. Again, I'm going to look for some historical information because I'm kind of looking back in, a little bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and include history. And now here's where I want to enter that GL batch range. So if we come out here back to our Excel tool, here's that cash post batch range. These are all of the cash postings that we did in AR Manager and the batch numbers. So 1013 through 1016. Oops. So I'm going to go ahead in here and put my search criteria to range and to the range in here. Hit OK. And now here are those 4 batches. So I'm going to highlight all of these to create my cash receipts journal from all of these GL batches. And, you know, standard Windows functionality. If I highlight the first value, hold my Shift button down, hit the last one, it's going to highlight that whole range. Or I could just hold my Control button down and click on them separately. However you choose to do it, standard Windows stuff. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. Tim's is going to render my cash receipts journal for all of those. So here it is. So what I want to do here is I want to grab the totals on the last page. So up here, I'm going to page to the last page. We'll go ahead and scroll down here. So here's my grand totals, my total branch grand totals here. I received cash in this amount. Looks like we did a little AR adjustment here. So my total credit to customer's account is this figure right here. Again, in this particular report, I don't have the ability to copy and paste like I did in my batch log. So again, we're going to have to remember that, write it down, however you choose to do that. So let's go plug that value into our spreadsheet tool. Alrighty, so that's all the information. I'll come over here, looks like it's going to tell us that we are indeed in balance, which obviously would result in a 0 amount out of balance. And so that's a good thing. We've balanced here, and as you can see, once you know how to do this, you could cruise through this, and it just takes a minute or two to go ahead and balance your AR on a daily basis Again, it's much easier if this didn't balance to find out why and fix that problem right away. So, like I said, as you can see, I'm in balance here. If that wasn't the case, this typically would mean that someone is running a program in TIMS that could be affecting the customer's AR. You could check to see if people might be posting interactively throughout the day rather than just having everything posted in the nightly batch. But really, probably the first thing I would do if I found that this wouldn't balance is just go ahead and plug those numbers in again. More often than not, it's just out of balance as a result of just numbers entered incorrectly. Maybe you fat-fingered something, maybe you mistransposed something, whatever the case may be. Go ahead, plug them totals in again. If it still doesn't balance, like I said, it also could mean that somebody's posting interactively throughout the day. If you confirm that nobody's posting interactively and the information is indeed entered correctly, and you still can't figure out why you haven't balanced, you really should contact us here at Computers Unlimited as soon as possible so that we can assist you in locating and correcting the problem. So again, 99% of the time, everything will work out just fine. Usually you could find out real quick why it didn't balance, like I said, whether you just entered a number wrong or whatever the case may be. But in the event it doesn't, give us a call, let's figure it out. It's much easier to do it on a day-to-day basis rather than trying to go back and dig through a month's worth of history. So that really kind of concludes everything I wanted to show you on how to balance the AR. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in there now. If not, if you think of something later or for whatever reason you can't ask a question at this time, feel free to email us here at the chat portion there. In the GoToMeeting control panel, you'll see email address for sandyb@cu.net. She'll get that question to myself for another training. Kristen, you says you have not received the handouts. Don't worry, Kristen. Right after this, right after I get done here, I'll go ahead and email those to you. I have your email address on your GoToMeeting registration. We'll get them to you. Any other questions? Alrighty, like I said, feel free to shoot us an email if you think of something later. Otherwise, pretty simple, pretty straightforward to be able to keep your AR balanced, head off any problems as they come along. So with that, I'll bid you a good day and good luck with your upgrade, and I hope to see you again in a future training.